Welcome to Driving School, WA Tutorials. We have a lot of questions whether the tests should be postponed if there's bad weather, if there's a storm and thunders and heavy rain. So in our opinion, they should definitely go ahead. In our experience and in our opinion, people who do their driver training in the winter time benefit greatly out of actually being taught in the wild weather, so they will know exactly how to do things, how to respond to any situations when it's raining. So we had a question just earlier today by somebody who has a test on Thursday. They say it's going to be stormy weather, so that shouldn't affect the driving assessment at all. So there are only a couple of things that you've got to understand. You've got to make sure that you use your window wipers, okay, and the mister. We're going to have a separate video explaining how to correctly use window wipers and the misters. So keep an eye on this channel and we'll explain everything thoroughly, which sort of setting and what you need to do when you sit in the car during the assessment, and how you should respond to any potential crisis. We also have questions regarding the headlights during the heavy weather. Should we or should we not have the headlights on during the driving assessment? And in general, while it's raining, we definitely should. If your visibility is impaired, then obviously if the visibility out there isn't as good as during a sunny day, your vehicle will be a lot easier to intercept when you have your headlights on. It is a huge advantage knowing exactly what to do when there's a rain, and obviously if the conditions require you to drive differently. Now, a lot of times we also have people asking whether they should go ahead with the driving lesson that they booked because it's bad weather. What better opportunity than being taught by a professional instructor in the bad weather how to turn on the misters, how to use the wipers, what are the proper settings, and whether we should do it while we're steering and when we're changing gears and all of that. So it is a great advantage if people have driving lessons during the bad weather than just having them during the summertime. So the driving assessments will definitely go ahead in any weather, because that way they will have an even better opportunity to assess if you lack any skills. Also, we have questions related to speed, whether we should drive slower or whether we should pull over on the side of the road until it gets a little bit easier. Look, we always say drive to the conditions. So if it pulls down, if it's bucketing down like it is today, you would surely slow down, particularly if there's a huge puddle of water a lot of times in the left hand side lane, because the drains are usually near the curb on the left hand side, and you should certainly slow down going through the water, because the resistance of your left hand side wheels and the right hand side wheels where it's dry will be completely different. Other potential implication is if you go too fast through the puddle of water, in some cars you might get your fuses and the ignition system flooded, and then in that way you might even experience the engine stalls. So look, how much slower, how much faster, what we do, what sort of speed of the wipers, it will vary depending on the particular situation. Like I said earlier, we're going to shoot the video specifically on how to properly use the misters, when and why, and also on the wipers. But just briefly, using the wipers, you've got usually 3 or 4 settings. A lot of luxury cars will have automated systems where the wipers will come on, even if you don't manually switch them on. But manually, we've got an intermittent speed, and also we have a low and high. Whether we should ever stop on the side of the road when it's really heavy rain, look, occasionally you might sort of consider pulling over for a minute or so. Definitely not in the situation where there's heavy traffic if you're on the freeway. So generally the traffic will be a lot slower in those conditions. So just adjust to the conditions. Most importantly, don't panic, because if you follow the car in front of you in heavy sort of traffic and heavy rain, you will surely be able to follow what the person in front of you is doing, and make sure you don't get too close either, because the stopping distance will be far greater. Don't hit the brakes suddenly and heavily. And also when you're starting, for example, you're sitting at the lights, try to be a little bit more sensitive and accelerate. It doesn't matter whether you're driving automatic or a manual car, just try to be a little bit more sensitive in acceleration, because it is very slippery, particularly when it rains the first time after the long dry period, specifically at intersections where people are stopping frequently. In one of the next videos, I'll explain thoroughly why the intersections would be a little bit more slippery, particularly after the long dry period when it rains for the first time, and why is it less slippery after it's been raining, say for example for days and weeks. So just keep an eye on this channel, and I'll be explaining a lot more things regarding the bad weather driving, and also how you should satisfy the criteria to pass a driving test in any conditions. We hope that this will make you a little bit less nervous about driving in the heavy rain, and particularly doing a driving assessment in rain, and you'll be better prepared to drive in any conditions, and you would certainly be more competent executing any given task on a day of a driving assessment, and particularly after your driving assessment when you get your license, because we always say your real driving test starts when you get your driver's license. We thank you for watching, and we will see you in the next video.